We completed so far in the previous sections angles that are related into a circle, and then we completed also secants and segments in general that are related into a circle. Today would be the last part of the circles, which is the equation of a circle. So the general form for an equation of a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equal to r squared. And where the center will be h comma k, and your radius is your r. So if I look at this graph here, and I want to write an equation of that circle, two things I need to know. What's the center of my circle as a coordinate point? So the center of this circle is 0, comma 0. And your radius is equal from the center all the way to one side of the circle, which is, it would be easier to use either the horizontal line or the vertical line. So that's 1 unit. So your r is equal to 1. Now I can write the equation of that circle saying it would be x minus h. So I'll put down the equation again, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equal to r squared. So I'll start replacing the values into this equation. And I'll have x minus, the coordinate point here is 0, comma 0, so to be your h is 0, plus y minus, the y value into your coordinate point is 0, and that's equal to r squared, which is 1 squared. Let's simplify further. X minus 0 is just an x, so to be x squared plus, and this part is y minus 0, which is y, so to be y squared, equal 1 squared simplified is 1, and that gives me the equation of the circle to your right. We'll work on those two questions. Now the radius is 2, so it's not anymore 1, so the radius is 2. So let's put the information down. The radius is equal to 2, but the center is still 0, comma 0. Now I can write my equation of my circle since I have those two pieces of information, the radius and the center. So I'll write it down as x minus the y, this is h and k. So if I put this as h and k, so x minus h, so my h value is 0 squared, plus y minus k, and your k is a 0, equal to r squared, and your r is 2, so to be 2 squared. Let's simplify further. The x minus 0 squared, x minus 0 is just an x, so it would be x squared plus y squared equal to 4. So here's the equation of that circle. We'll move on to the second example here. Now the radius is equal to 3. And your center still, so the radius, let's put down the information. The radius is equal to 3, but the center is 0, comma 0. So now I can write my equation. So x, and again, this is your h, this is your k, so x minus 0 plus y minus 0 squared equal to r squared, which is 3 squared. Simplifying further, so you will have an x squared plus a y squared equal to 9. But do you think all of the circles start in the origin or the center is in the origin? It's not all of the cases when you will see that the center of the circle is in the origin. So let's move on to more questions. With this question, I see that the radius is equal, so I'm counting from the center all the way to this point. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So the radius is equal to 4. And for the center, it's the best way to figure out what would be the center of the circle. Do your horizontal diameter and do your vertical diameter in order for you to check what would be the center of the circle. So when I did my horizontal and my vertical diameter, I ended up seeing that my center is just right there, which is you went 3 to the right and then down 4. So your center is equal to 3, comma negative 4. Now you should be ready to write your equation. So you will have x, remember this is h and k. So x minus 3 squared plus y minus k, and your k is equal to negative 4. squared equal to the r squared, which is 4 squared. I'll simplify this one further, so I'll keep the x minus 3 as it is. So please do not multiply the binomial plus times the binomial. Keep it as it is. Now the second binomial would be y. There's two negatives, so the two negatives will turn into a positive. So it would be y plus 4 squared equal to 16. So here's your equation for this circle. And now we can move into the second graph. With the second graph, you have the radius is equal to 4. The radius is, no, it's eventually equal to 5. And your center is equal to -5. You want -5 to the, you want 5 to the left, and you want up 7. So it's -5 comma 7. And now you should be ready to write your equation. So I'll write it down as x, and I'll put x minus -5 squared plus y minus 7 squared equal to r squared, which is 5 squared. Now I'm ready to clean up all of my different pieces. So you will have x plus 5 squared plus y minus 7 squared equal to 25. And that concludes this question. So here's my equation for this graph on the top. With the following two questions, C and D, this one, the radius is equal to 3. So from the center, from this point all the way to this point, so from this point to this point, it's 3 units. So just do not be fooled. Look at your scale. So this is, the radius is 3. But also the center, if I did my horizontal line and my vertical line, I ended up on this point. So the center is 0, 3. It was written before it was 3, 0, but it was a mistake. It's 0, 3, and the radius is 3. Now I can write my equation, which is x minus 0 squared plus y minus 3 squared equal to 3 squared. The first binomial squared simplifies to x squared plus y minus 3 squared. I'm not expecting you that you take this binomial and square it and simplify it further. Just keep it as it is, and that's equal to 9. So here's your first equation. The second graph, or the second circle, you have the center is at 4. You want 4 to the right and then down 3. So here's your center. The radius is 2 units. Make sure that you're looking at the radius. Eventually, it's not 2 units. It's equal to 1 unit. So make sure that you're looking at the scale of your graph. So from there, I can write my equation. So this is h and k for my center. So you have x minus 4 squared plus y minus -3 squared equal to the radius squared, which is 1 squared. Now from there, I can simplify further. So the first term would be an x minus 4 squared. I'm not simplifying this one anywhere. This one, you have 2 negative. With this binomial, the 2 negatives turn into a positive. So it's y plus 3 squared equal to 1 squared is 1. And that concludes the second problem. The second page in your worksheet, you are given at this point the equation, and from this equation, you will be pulling out information from that equation, which is your center and your radius. And as soon as you pull your center and your radius out, you will be able to draw the circle. The center of this equation, it's 4. Recall that the equation itself was x minus h squared plus y minus k squared, always go back again to your equation, equal to r squared. So your h is exactly 4, and your k is exactly 6. So 4 comma 6 is your radius, your center of the circle. The radius is r squared. So if your r squared is equal to 81, applying the square root on both sides, then your r is equal to 9. So applying the square root on both sides, r is equal to 9, so your radius is 9. Now you have all of the information needed to draw this circle. So you will go 4 to the right and then up 6. So 4 to the right and then up 6 units. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, and then you have 6. So here's my center. And from that center, I'll go 9 to the right, 9 to the left, 9 up, and 9 down. After you plot the 4 points, you went from the center 9 to the right, 9 to the left, 9 up, and now 9 down. Now you just can sketch your circle. Try to do your best to sketch the circle. My circle will not be the best circle ever, but I tried. The following question, you have x plus 3 squared plus y plus 2 squared equal to 36. So your center should be, recall this is x minus negative 3, and that's why you can see it as x plus 3. So it would be always the opposite signs of those x and y. So it would be negative 3, comma, negative 2. And your center, r squared is equal to 36. Applying the square root on both sides, r is equal to 6. So your radius is equal to 6. Think about your center will be always the opposite of what you have in each one of your binomials. So this was negative x minus 4 to the power of 2 and y minus 6 to the power of 2. So it will be always the opposite sign. Now let's get back again to this question here. And I'll go negative 3 units to the right and then down 2. So here's my center. And from that center, I'll go right 6, up 6, left 6 units, and then down 6 units. So down 6 units. And from there, I'm trying to sketch a circle using this information. This is more practice on how to get the information out of your equation, the center and the radius. And then after you do that, you try to use the center and the radius to draw or to graph your circle. So the center would be the opposite of the 5. So it's negative 5, comma 7. The opposite of negative 7 is 7. The radius, your r squared is equal to 9. Applying the square root on both sides, so your radius is equal to 3. Now I can draw my circle. I'll go left 5 and then up 7. And I'll go from there 3 units to the right, 3 units to the left, and then 3 up and 3 down. Work on C and D, and I'll show the answers. So pause me, and I'll show the answers right away when you start playing back again. So here is the information for C and D. I drew my circle for C using the information from the center and the radius, but I did the same thing for D. The center was 0, 2, and the radius is 4, and I drew my circle using that information. The last part of this section is given information, and you will be writing an equation of that circle given the information of your center and your radius. So I'll rewrite the equation, the general form of the equation of a circle, which is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equal to r squared. Your h is negative 3, your k is 7, and your r is equal to 8. So I'll put this information, so it will be x minus negative 3 squared plus y minus, the k is 7, so y minus 7 squared equal to 8 squared. From there, I will simplify this equation, so the two negatives will make it a positive. So it will be x plus 3 squared plus y minus 7 squared equal to 64. And here, this is the equation of the first problem, number 3. We'll move on to number 4. With number 4, your center is 8, negative 1. So your h is 8, and your k is negative 1, and your r is equal to 7. I'll write my equation, so it will be x minus 8 squared plus y minus negative 1 squared equal to 7 squared. Simplifying further, it will be x minus 8 squared plus y plus 1 squared equal to 49. And here is the equation for number 4. Upload your notes in Google Classroom, and after you upload your notes in Google Classroom, do your homework assignment and upload it as well. And have a great day. Bye.